Hey guys, it's Josh from Midnight Auto Repair. Coming back to you, after a couple weeks. I've been busy, things have been happening, but I promise I've been getting things done, so you have something to see. But for now, let me take you around what I've been doing, catch you up on some things, and let you see why living in Northwest Pennsylvania between about mid-November to about mid-April can be entertaining. So, hang with me, I'll be right back. So let me bring you in on some things while we're catching up, friend to friend kind of stuff. So, reason I said Northwest Pennsylvania between mid-November and mid-April is all of this flaky white stuff. We've gotten hit by several storms. Could be worse. I mean, could be Buffalo, but really though, it's I'd say there's about 8 to 10 inches on the ground. Not a small amount, but it does put a kibosh on doing some of my outside revivals, which I do have coming up, but it's kind of hard to work on the car when they're covered in a foot of snow and it's 28 degrees outside. So hopefully in the next couple weeks here I can get on those and get things cooking. Because, up north, whenever springtime comes around and someone says they haven't done any work to their car, either they have been lazy all winter or they are straight out lying to you, because it's when we kind of prepare for war. We get 6 months to buy stuff, build stuff, and then when springtime comes around, next thing you know, that guy that had it's just a couple bolt-on mods, next thing you know, he's rocking a turbo or something stupid like that. So wintertime in the north, we're preparing for stuff. So I have been preparing for stuff. Like, so we got the 83 S10, which by the way is in good company to the 89 that is actually Jim's, which is already V8 swapped. Now, you didn't want to let that one go. So we're building this one. But we got a Trans Am in here, we got the old Grand Fury, we got 53 Buick hiding out on the side there, which things have been going on with that too. But coming along here, I have pulled the seat out of this truck, started cleaning the interior, because when I pulled the seat out, you can actually take a ruler, drop it down in the level of rat crap that was underneath it and foam. So I know where half the seat went to and how long the residents had been there. Needless to say, it had been a while. But now I can touch the steering wheel, and unlike most GM steering wheels, I don't feel like I'm going to stick to it. Plus, I think it's rather classic looking wheel. Just a 2-arm, folds out of the way and impact kind of steering wheel, but looks classy. We're coming in now. We got 120,000 miles on this thing, and it's starting to look a little better. Things are still in process here. I'm probably gonna pull that floor mat out tonight and try to clean underneath there. I'm gonna make a block off plate, because this is not gonna be a stick shift anymore. It's gonna be an automatic. So I do have the B&M, or not the B&M, but Hurst ratchet shifter going in this, which You know, I've done a lot of Facebook shopping because this is a budget build. That's what this is. I mean, we're literally starting off with a truck that I got in trade for getting the Buick running, actually. So, a little bit of bartering there. And then here is our Boat 305, which, as you can see now, really coming together and starting to look like a heck of a motor. Yep. Yeah. Stepping over crap. But I mean, obviously I showed you guys in one of my previous videos, which you'll find somewhere up in this corner here, when I tore this and this apart, and we ended up picking this engine out of the two that we had acquired. Now, for the engines themselves, I have a $0 investment into, other than this one. Got a new timing chain, all brand new gaskets, head gaskets, new fuel pump, carburetor. So what we ended up going with was a quadrijet. And by running the serial number, I know it's like a 72 or a 73, but this was actually getting ready to be scrapped. I ended up getting this and another one from my buddy Steve, who I want to thank for that. Went through, gave it an overhaul, and now, wah, boom, all the good noises, because square bores, you can get better carburetors, but spread bores, they just sound so angry when you get into those secondaries. And this is, it's coming along, it's getting ready to go. Like, we're getting down to time for large stuff to be done. I've got water pump and pulley, everything's set up. Now remember, all this stuff came off of the junk 305 that's over in the corner there, which gave me all my brackets, my pulleys, all the stuff that we're going to be using to get this, or get that motor in here and get everything functioning. Now the starter, I'm not going to trust a 40-year-old starter for long, so I'm actually going to use the starter that came off of this as a core and get a new one, because I kind of, it's built from junk, but we need reliability, because I'm going to put some miles on this thing. It's going to be the shop truck. It's going to be a driver. It's not going to be a show truck. It's not going to be a drag race truck. It'll be peppy, but it's not a race truck. It's just going to be an S10 with a sufficient amount of power to get it around the way it needs to. But yeah, while we're going through things here, let me see here. I'm trying to keep my camera thing here because I'm still learning how to use this, so bear with me a little. But we're going to go through. We're going to check on a couple other projects here. I got the toaster. Ended up putting all new rockers and everything on this, so that way it can be inspected here soon. The Fury was sitting outside, and with the Chrysler ignition on it, it did not want to start. And I figured out that there was actually a relay that was stuck, so I just fed 12 volts directly into the coil, and you could actually hear that relay kick and clear up. Twisted the ignition, she barked right off. So got her inside for the winter. The 53 Buick, she's been coming along. It now actually has an exhaust system on it. Underneath, a lot of the floor pans have been repaired. Jim's been working on this thing pretty hard now, and like the wheels, he had them sandblasted and powder coated. You can see now there's hubcaps on it. And underneath the hood here, he went through, he freshened up the engine, made it look a little better. We do have those cracks that still need to be addressed though, because it is a heck of a vacuum leak. And now the carburetor is rebuilt and everything is in its base adjustment. It's just so lean because of this cracked manifold here that when you roll into it, it pops and backfires because it's lean. So if you take the choke and you push it on, it runs 50 times better. But when I pulled that carburetor apart, somebody had that, the jets just, or the adjustment screws for the idle air adjustment just backed all the way out. But, I mean, things are coming along. He's getting things set to go here. But I just kind of wanted to bring you an update of what's been happening in the shop and the things that have been happening behind the scenes, because I know I've taken a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there, went to North Carolina, was sick for a weekend, you know, just when it rains it pours, guys. But you want to know what? I'm still here, I'm still smiling, so life ain't that bad. But I'm gonna see if I can't figure out something to bring you on with me tonight, because it's my birthday, 38 years strong, and I wanted to come to my happy place. But stay tuned, I'll be here. Alright guys, so I'm back. I pulled the floor mat out of the truck, got it in the bed here so I can inspect the floor pans on this, because you saw earlier I just had this open. This is all still covered. Now, as bad as it looks, believe it or not, these floor pans are still pretty solid. Now, the rocker on the other hand, it leaves a little to be desired, but I got stuff to replace that. But one of the things I want to go over, and it's actually a common question I get when I work at the parts store, because we're a POR15 retailer, is what kind of metal do you know, how do you treat the metal before you apply the POR15? And I kind of wanted to, on video here, kind of give you a quick overview of it actually, because I've used that product a fair bit and I wanted to kind of explain. So what you see here, I've scraped, I'm going to go over it with a wire wheel still, but what this is considered tightly adhering rust. So it's pretty coarse, pretty rough, but it's something that will actually hold the product. Whereas if you come over here, we've got painted metal, which you actually want to scuff down or make some form of like an abrasive surface on it. That way when you paint the POR15 on, it's got something to bite onto. And if it's clean steel, you actually want to put like an etch primer or something over it. That way it has something to hold on to, because once that product cures, nothing takes it off short of grinding it. So it's a great product, especially for this purpose. And I mean, over here we got a little boo-boo hole there, probably where the mice were entering actually. But oh, it's coming along. I'll bring you back in as I get more done. Alright, so we're going to come back into it now that you saw me try to knock off all the loose stuff I could. So what we're left with is, well, pretty decent looking floor in most spots, easily repairable. But when I say tight adhering rust, this is what I mean, like where nothing comes up off of it. It's completely, there's no rust scale left, there's nothing chipping. Here, you can see that. Now, this is the kind of stuff you paint directly. The stuff that still kind of got paint on it after going on it with a stiff wire wheel, which you can use a brush. But I mean, you're going to be pretty tired after that. It's easier to take my cheap Harbor Freight drill, throw a reasonably decent stiff wire wheel on it and go at it. Now, the stuff that you normally are going to want to put etch primer on is stuff like this. Stuff that's actually like shiny metal. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm probably just going to cover over it with POR15 anyhow. But I wanted to kind of give you guys the short and long of what's cool to paint, what's not cool to paint. And POR15 is pretty much just one of the best products in sliced bread. So I'll cut back to you here. I'll at least dab some POR15 on the floor. All right, guys, so I went through and applied the POR15 to the floor here. As you can see, it's a nice finish. Obviously, you can see the seat belts are a different color, but with this vehicle, the interior is going to end up going a satin black. I don't know if I'm going to change the color of the dashboard yet because it is in such nice shape. But then again, too, it won't match. Plus, I'd like to redo this silver as well. But you can see the end product of this actually looks really, really nice. And the best part is since it's an encapsulator, any of the rust that has formed underneath there is, I would say dead, but you know, rust never truly dies. It just regroups. So this is the best way to try to save the inside and the floor as best as I can. I've still got a couple places I need to patch, but I do have something I'm going to use for a couple of the small pinholes, and then I'm going to bend some steel and fix a couple things in here. But I at least wanted to get the rust process stopped, or at least halted as best as I could. Now, I think next week I'm going to make a block off plate. That way, when we are ready to put in our Hurst ratchet shifter, that we'll have a good base to mount it down to, and I'll be able to put the holes in the floor for the automatic shift cable. And then we're going to start getting the engine bay and everything prepped and ready for the inside of, or putting the engine in this. So guys, as always, I appreciate you staying to the end of the video. It helps me out a lot, and hopefully I'm helping you guys out as well. So I appreciate you liking it. I really appreciate you subscribing if you've enjoyed what you see. And I hope you guys share it, because I'm trying to pass a little knowledge around. So this is Josh from Midnight Auto saying, have yourselves a good night. I'll see you next week.